Hello, morning. Thank you for being here. We are the people from Collabora working in the MesaCI, and it's a team presentation. Even you see only here two of us, and we are happy if you like to jump in any questions if there is something that is not clear, and we'll try to explain what we do about MesaCI. Those are more or less the topics that we would like to cover this morning, and we will split each other talking in different aspects. So here is David that will talk you about the little things.
And here is Sergio. So, hello. I will start by introduction of the CI, the basic stones we use, basic technologies. So a lot of you probably know this, but we're using GitLab. So we're using GitLab CI as a base for the testing. And our main thing which we do test is pre-merge. So we're trying to test, let's say, in ideal world, in 20 minutes, we try to test all the devices. Sorry. All the devices and as much test we can. And so we're using GitLab CI, and GitLab CI is connected to different farms and devices. We're using basic barebone devices where you have just basic scripts which control the device power on and power off, and you just run your job on it and then shut it down. This is the basic option. Then we having Lava. Lava is originally from Linaro, and it's a farm solution originally used for testing ARM devices, but these days we're using it for ARM devices, x86, and everything we can find. And for example, Lava runs on Collabora promises and for testing Lima. Erico is somewhere here, so wave to him. He's running his farm too. And there's third solution which is connected to GitLab CI, and that's Tron CI, originally Valve CI. And that's another solution with a little bit different approach than Lava and Barebone. So we will get to it later, to details. And so we're testing different architectures. We're testing different devices from small ARM phones or dev boards up to full-blown PCs with powerful GPUs. And what we also do, we have different test suites. Many of you know we test with DeQP, we test with Piglit, we're having also Piglit traces, so we compare images from the games and compare if they are rendered correctly. We also test like SKQP test for Android and Skia library. And we also test on Android, for example. So what we also using, we try to using mainline Linux kernel, but we have a few patches at top because we are booting through NFS. So we need some adjustments to boot properly on our farms devices. And we're using custom dev configs exactly because of booting from NFS. Nice. So main challenges which you may spot sometimes when something doesn't work is scalability and complexity. Like we run a lot of devices, and all these devices has to succeed to get your code merged. Because if we keep something as, may fail, no one will ever fix it. It will may fail forever. So we always want everything to pass. And if something doesn't pass, we need to know about it and have it marked as fails or flags. Because we run like million of tests, and some of these tests will always fail. So, Our challenges is scalability and complexity. So what we do to fit into 20 minutes, it's like we're using huge parallelization at more levels. So first, we run jobs on multiple devices at the same time. So for example, we have like 10 devices of one type, of one configuration, and we split the job between them to run them much faster. Another thing which we do is fractions. So if we know the device cannot run 500,000 tests in 20 minutes, we will just run at least, let's say, half of it to have at least some coverage. And the rest of it, we run in nightly runs. So for example, if some test will start failing, we will know it a little bit later, but we will still know it thanks to nightly runs, for example. But not right away. But at least the half of the test will be tested at the pre-merge phase before your code gets in. And last thing is also the runner itself, right? Like for example, the QP, run these tests in parallel, which has advantage that the machine is better utilized. On the other hand, it may bring up some flags which you normally don't see because of some weird combination of multiple tests and some hardware weirdness or the software bug somewhere. So, scalability and complexity. Infrastructure limitation. When we start the testing, we need to send like rootfs and containers to multiple devices on multiple farms in different locations, because some of these farms are in Europe, some of these farms are in US. It's like spread everywhere, so you generate a lot of network traffic. So if there is somewhere on the way bottleneck, it may fail. So we try to avoid this by retrying download in case something fails. And of course, trying to minimize the size of the data which we will push to network. And finite resources, that's another serious thing. As more we test, more devices are getting used, and it's like we just have limited number of the devices. Even if we like test on 250 devices, it's still, they are not irreplaceable because different hardware, different types. So we have, for some cases, we have like 4 devices. And if someone, for example, starts stress testing and the runners doesn't have prioritization implemented, then we have problem because there is something running and we want to merge our stuff, which has some limits. Because if we want to do pre-merge, we have to set limits, like for example, 1 hour. And if it doesn't get merged within an hour, it gets canceled. So you probably saw that, many of you already. So this is like safety check, but on other hand, if someone utilize our devices too much, we have kind of problem to merge stuff later. Flakiness and timeouts. So we have multiple issues where can flakiness happen. First thing, when you, for example, upgrade GitLab, the solution itself, sometimes they introduce some bug when something starts flaking, not even because of our infrastructure. It's like sometimes it happens. And you have to update GitLab very often because of security issues. So this is first level. Then infrastructure. You can have network problems, you can have failure of some server. And what is interesting, we have like nice thing. So when farm fails, we are able to disable it and continue working. So at the cost of not testing one farm, we are still able to very quickly continue with regular work if possible. And then, of course, you have the device under the test, and the device under the test can fail by hardware, sometimes can flag because of various reasons. There is like infinite possibilities. Because from the boot stage up to download stage, there can happen something, and these devices, for example, the embedded devices boards, are very heavy used, and sometimes it may happen that something doesn't work right. And last thing is test level itself. As I mentioned before, sometimes you run in parallel 2 tests, which somehow doesn't like each other and cause some failure. So we need to also like take care of it. So the reliability of pipeline, as I said, like we have 250 jobs approximately, and sometimes something fails. So what we do is usually we just retry on every level at least once. So if something fails, we try to like recover if possible. So let me pass word to Sergi about tooling and other stuff.
Probably you know that we have this March bot, and the way that we have the workflow for the merging system that we assign to March, and then we pass the test. So we also use the nightly runs and these post-merge things, and the complexity of the rules to decide which jobs should be triggered or decide which jobs should be available. It's something that we are refining that. I've said that we are the team in Collabora working in the graphics CI, but there are more people in the community working in the CI of Mesa itself. So we are not the only ones doing that, and we thank all the people that we together maintain this system alive. There are some tools that we've prepared, like the run and monitor, and also the possibility to do the stress test. And also we like to provide the community the tools like the Smart Queue, where we are trying to provide a way to the developers to see how busy the system is. Not only when you assign to March and then you have a flaky thing because one farm far away from you failed for some reason, and you get hungry because you get angry because of that. And just to know that we like to book the resources for March, especially because the pre-merge is the main priority for the testing, but it's also useful that each one of us have the possibility to run those tests while we are developing. Also, we provide other tools like the upref that we have a talk tomorrow just at the end of the session. It's to update the dependencies that some projects has. And we develop also the collate, that is a tool that we will talk also tomorrow, to recollect different data from a pipeline from the different jobs and having them all together. We monitor the CI actively, and we do this performance test, and we use this ATL model to gather this information, put it in a database, and then show it in Grafana. We are trying to improve the way we are showing the community the status of the system to help in order to have transparency in why we are having problems, in which problems we are working, and how we are increasing the reliability of the system. But basically, we like to share with you not only the information, but also the responsibility to know that we have a finite set of devices, a finite set of resources, and we have to not DOS our system by saying, I launched this, and I launched it again, and over, because this is taking the resources for the others also. So there is a balance there, and we like to follow, to give some tools to simplify the way to see the capacity of the system. In this visualization, we have these performance drivers, and there are some data that we like to increase the fine-grained things that we can see there, and with the MesaCI quality to see a certain percentage of how often things are failing and which reason they have. And we are very open to do a discussion and open questions about everything in this MesaCI. You like to follow that? Or
okay. Sure. So like, this is like a board. This talk is a little bit meant to be even as a discussion. So it's like what you want to see in CI, what like would help you, what is your view of it. And because that's very important for us, since like you're main users and developers, so it's like something which we love to hear from you. As just few ideas what's going to do next. It's like one of thing we've been thinking a bit is like a little bit limiting of using CI outside of March, except stress testing and cases where it's needed, exactly because, as we said, it's pretty overloaded, and priority is always to merge stuff and be able to test and don't disappoint developers when they're trying to merge the correct code. But also we're working on, for example, some interesting things, which is like testing latest kernels with current CI workflow, because we're updating kernel time to time to new version. So we're trying to usually keep stable kernels to cover all devices, to not have any hangs or something caused by kernel, not by Mesa. But it's very useful, for example, I think test like DRM next branches of kernel or just recently released kernel with Mesa, so we know everything clicks and matches and no new regression appears. Because except MesaCI is very good at testing Mesa, it's also very good at testing the kernel, because if we know with Mesa it works very well and we switch to kernel, you know, the regression will be probably caused by kernel. So it's more like ask and discuss. We would be very happy if you would.
Hello. I would like to ask which kind of tools do you use in order to record metrics? Is something like custom that you use within Mesa, or something completely different?
It started with Mesa performance tracking. That was a project to gather information about the performance of the different boards and different GPUs, and we extended it to this CI stats that is inside of Free Desktop. Also, it's a project in graphics CI. And we launched this in a time base, and we gather information from GitLab, and then we move it to InnoDB, and we have it in the Grafana of the CI.
Okay, thank you. And another question, you mentioned that you use as well games in order for testing, is that correct? Which kind of tools do you use in order to, you know, like make, for example, if it is a game like follow the path, or you already have like pre-recorded movements, like, I don't know how to say.
Yeah, we like to reproduce the rendering.
Okay.
So you know better than the traces.
Okay, I will answer. So for the traces, these days we use mainly API trace. So the usual workflow is open the game, just trace shortest part of the game with some reasonable resolution, then trim the trace just the frames which are showing the scenery. And we generate the hash from that, and then we compare if the hash changed or not. And developer has to decide if the image does look as it should for the game, and he can compare against the old screenshot. So we kind of just having some small part which gets sent to GPU, and that gets replayed. And for performance tracing, for example, we just replay that like 150 times after it all over, and you know, measure the time how much it took.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't know too much about Grafana, but there's a function called Grafana as code. Did you use it, and why did you need to use it if you use it?
I think we don't use it. It's good to know. Guillermo is the one that knows the internalities and how we are using Grafana, but he's not here today. But I would like to have this in mind, and I will check it. Maybe he is already working on that. He is already using that, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think for this question, if you push this into IRC DRI dev channel, I think Guillermo will respond to you. So it's like a remote question.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you mentioned that you're running a fraction of a test or sharding. Do you randomize that? Like, especially in fraction, it sounds like you will always run the first half of the test when it could be interesting to actually run a random set, right?
No, because there is some kind of repetibility on that. Because if your test fails because we did a random fraction, and then you retry and a different random fraction didn't, then it passes, you don't have this information. We will have this information in the nightly run, the post-merge thing. But the repeatability for these tests is that in the pre-merge, we are testing exactly always the same.
Yeah, so the DEQP runner, the tool that we use to run the tests, takes the whole case list from your CTS, shuffles that randomly in a stable random shuffle, so every instance will get the same order, and then the fraction is just take every nth one. So you get distribution across the set of tests, but you get a consistent set. Where we often have a lot of extra effort is when you've been running a fraction and your driver is full of bugs. You have a set of known failures at the current fraction. When you bump your fraction, now you just get just a completely different set of tests, and you have to rewrite your list.
Thanks.
Yeah, mostly how we try to at least ensure some reliability is the nightly run where we run everything if we can. One of thing with, for example, the QP is very nice with this, but the trick is, for example, if you upgrade the CTS test suites and you added a new test, so this gets like reshuffled, and you know something maybe seemingly unrelated starts failing because you change the order. So Sergi had a lot of fun with that with CI upref, automated upref. So this is like only thing. It's best we have the nightly runs and we are kind of sure like everything will run consistently, and at least the pre-merge will take as much it can check before the code gets in.
It's a balance between the resources that we have, the time that we have. So in the pre-merge, we like to cover as much as possible in a limited time, and then every night in the world, let's say it's the time that less developers are using the system, is when we run the nightly runs test just to do a full coverage and see during the contributions of this day something escapes the pre-merge testing, and we update the expectations from that. But it's a balance to have the time of the merges in something that is reasonable.
Yeah, thank you. So the question regarding sharing the home farm. Well, I have a small farm of devices, but if I want to share it with the DRM CI and the MesaCI, but I still want to be able to use this farm for my own development, what would you recommend as a way for sharing the access and still not locking each other out of this farm?
I think it would be. Go ahead. I think it could be depending on the platform that you use, that you will establish in your management, you will establish some priorities. For example, I know Lava. So you can share this laboratory, with this farm, with different projects. But then you will share a set of your resources there to not use all the resources getting requests from MesaCI and you are stuck and the other projects doesn't come in. At the same time, you have to provide MesaCI enough stability, especially in networking, enough stability to not bother the pre-merge test when we are using your farm on that. And there's a balance always there.
So Lava or some other tooling?
Or Tron CI or the different options.
If I may add, you could choose between multiple options. After this talk, there will be a nice talk about Tron CI, and which is like nicely suited for this, I think. Or also one alternative is using Lava, as we use in Collabora, for example. But the Lava is it's more suited for like kernel CI plus Mesa. It's like just connected to Mesa. It's not like primary target for it. You could eventually use even barebone devices, but if you want to connect to pre-merge, you will see there is a lot of drawbacks. So you always can set priorities, at least except barebone devices where you cannot do anything. You can set priorities, so you say like, for example, if I want to use it right now, I can send the job with high priority and it will get proceeded right away. And if you have few devices, it will be probably never bottleneck. Like if you don't say like use every device for pre-merge, then it would be a problem because you may block like merging Mesa code. But if you choose sensibly the defaults, then you should be fine. I think you will enjoy it next talk for sure. Thank you. Any other questions, discussion topics?
In any case, now at least you know our faces, and you can ask at any time here, the coffee time or in the corridors.
Or there will be CI also, CI workshop. So we will be around.
Last call for a question. Anything in the channel? Okay. Up.
Hello. Hello. So you posted as a question there, better integrate Lava and Tron CI. So what is your opinion on having like all these multiple ways of running the CI farms? Do you think it could be a good idea to try to standardize like in a single way of doing things, or is it better to leave the way it is with all these different ways?
We are entering in opinions in open source. If there should be only one solution and there should be multiple solutions and a competence between different solutions, it's nice also, depending of if they are fighting or if they are collaborating, even there are multiple solutions. It's just a thing of, it's complicated opinions there, and sometimes people think in my solution is much better than the others when we enrich with the other solutions, I think.
But I think more on the point of view from someone who has to maintain the system to work with all these different solutions, if it would, for example, make your life easier, or maybe not, if there was like a standardized way of doing this.
Make our life easier. We are here to work, and different farms, we like to have farms. So any option that the one that is providing us a farm is good. So we will integrate it as much as possible. We will make it smooth, and we will not discuss with the owner of the farm that is providing us this. We will not say, but you have to choose this option that is more comfortable for us. We will say, okay, you are helping us. Go ahead. We will do our best to integrate your solution and make it work.
If I may add one small exception, it's for bare metal farms. I mean, it's great. We have them right now. But what we're missing there is what Lava and Tron CI has, and that's prioritization. Yeah. And since when you send a lot of jobs to these farms, for example, because you stress testing something, and we will want to do pre-merge, these machines are overloaded and we can't do anything about this. So one thing, it's like any solution you want, but please have prioritization, because the prioritization, when you have limited number of devices, if someone provides unlimited number of devices, then it's like no problem. But if we have limited resources, the thing of the solution which should have is the priorities. So we can say like pre-merges first, and then like other people can play, but only if the resource is free.
And the limited number of devices, it's something that depends on time also. Because maybe you can provide us 20 devices, and it seems to be a lot. But then after the time, it seems to not be that much. and then there is this a bottleneck just because of that.
Just wanted to give a quick fix. Bare-metal actually is going to have the same prioritization as Lava or CI Tron. Yeah, it's not Tron CI, it's CI Tron. It's a joke like Citron in French.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's not going to be an impact. But one thing, what you were saying about, like, is it good to have diversity? Well, of course, I'm biased. I'm the one proposing something else. But in the end, I would like you to make your own mind based on the presentation we're going to give after, but also the workshop. And hopefully you'll see that it actually addresses a lot of the core problems of the current solutions. And it's going to make our lives easier as a community. At least that's my objective. You know, small stuff.
Yeah, we can learn from the experience of the others using one solution or another, and then you choose the one that works better for you. Okay, what about time, I think? Another last call? So we can stop it here, if you like. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for the discussion, and see you around.